I will deal with energy management and energy audit, and other financial aspects will come together to derive the effectivity of energy audit and effectivity of energy management, thereby increasing efficiency of the system. So before going through the entire subject, let us focus little bit on the energy part, energy sector of India, how we generate our electrical energy, or say other energies, how we procure energy, from where the energy is coming, from where to where the energy is going, how the energy loss is getting, how the energy losses occur in the system, and how best we can try to protect our the losses, which is basically as a whole the monetary loss and financial losses. Is it okay to you? Can you understand this? Uh, Now I will show you a presentation. I'll go through a presentation, and subsequently I will give you the entire book on energy audit, energy management. I will refer which part of the book is important, which are the chapters you need to study, because these are the study notes, you can say. I will not give you any other study notes. You go through the chapters what I'll mention in the book, and from those chapters, if you go through, you will understand the subject, and whatever questions will be asked on those chapters, you will be able to answer quite efficient. But before beginning, I intend to tell that what is energy. All you know that in physics, energy is the is something which allows us to do some work. The work may be mechanical, the work maybe the energy may be mechanical, the energy may be electrical. There are many forms of energy. Energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. Only energy can be converted from one form to other. That we have studied in physics. In engineering, we have also done lot many things with energy. But one point we have not yet focused, perhaps all your students, because energy is costly. Whenever we talk of energy, that input energy allows us to do something, and that input energy either we create or we procure. If we create, again, we are not creating energy. We are basically taking some measures which is converting the energy. Say the case of a compression. The compression, what we are doing, we are using either hand pump or some electrical pump. We are compressing air into a small chamber, increasing its pressure. Using that pressure, we are doing something. We can rotate a fan using the compressor. We can cool ourselves. We can blow off some unwanted dust dirt, or we can do many other activities through this compression. So here the compressed energy, which is a mechanical portion, mechanical energy, we are creating that energy by, again, mechanical push or running the wheel of a compression. So energy is basically something what we are doing. It is not something what we are getting freely. Although the God or the universe has given us some energy which are freely available, like the solar energy, it is freely available. The wind energy, in some cases, when the wind blows, it is freely available. When the water falls, it is freely available. So there are some energies which are freely available, but when you are converting this energy into your something uh, effective one, you are buying the energy. So in our cases, we will consider those energies which we are buying, because whenever we buy something, we must make perfect use of that. I think it is clear to you that whenever we are buying something, you are buying something, from the market, and everybody is conscious that whatever I am buying from the market, am I doing justice to it? Am I, taking the entire utility of the material what I am buying by proper usage, or it will remain as a garbage in my home? So if there is no utility, it will be a garbage. But if there is an utility, it's an asset. So whenever we are buying something, we are considering that we are buying an asset, and the efficacy of the asset or effectivity of the asset is determined by the uses of that asset, or here in technical term we call the efficiency. As energy is costly, as energy is procured by some other party, they sell it to us, we are buying that energy. It might be coal, it might be electricity, it might be heat, it might be something different. It might be chemical energy through battery, it might be, thermal energy, or it might be nuclear energy. The mother source, I am buying it from somebody, it has got a definite price. So whenever I am utilizing that energy, I must see that proper justification of the energy is given. That is done by energy auditing, and that is identifying the efficiency of the system. And if the system is inefficient, I am losing energy. If the system is efficient, then I am utilizing the energy. I think it is clear to you, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. If I ask you, please answer. Otherwise, I'm not sure, because I am not seeing you. I won't be able to understand whether I am audible, I am understandable or not. Right? So, how many of you now, you tell me that I see 31 have joined. How many of you are from electrical background, and how many of you are from power background? Please tell. Are you hearing me, or you have just registered and remaining silent?
Yes, sir, we can hear
Yes,
you.
sir.
Acha, you are Orko Prabhanandi. Are you from
Yes, sir.
electrical or power?
I'm from electrical.
Yes. There is some Arunim Poddar. Are you from power or electrical?
Sir, I am from electrical.
Actually, here there are no power students. Actually, it is open elective. So here there are 50 numbers of electrical students, and rest of the students are from other department like printing, chemical, like this.
Okay. So there is no power. Anyway, I thought that it is from power because my subject allocation came from the power department. But I do not know. I have to talk to the HOD of power. Anyway, I do not have any objection, because since it's open elective and energy management, energy audit, uh, anyone can who have interest in energy can study. So before going into depth of the subject, let me give you, because most of you are electrical, anyone anyway who is not, who does not belong to electrical discipline. কেউ আছো যে ইলেকট্রিক্যালে নেই? In the session, in the class, is there anybody who is
Yes,
not
sir.
from electrical?
Yes, sir. I'm myself,
Yes, sir.
Saurabh Das. I am from construction engineering.
You are from Saurabh. Thank you. Saurabh, you are from construction. আর কে আছো?
Yeah,
Sir,
sir,
I'm
my name is Jatinbhai Murmu and I'm from Food Technology and Biochemical Engineering.
ফুড টেকনোলজি বায়োকেমিক্যাল। আচ্ছা, সুমনা কিছু বলতে চাও?
yes, sir. I'm Shumana Datta from Printing Engineering.
ওকে, গ্রেট। আচ্ছা, আমি জাস্ট একটু আউট অফ দ্য ওয়ে কোয়েশ্চেন করছি। জ্যোতির্ময়, সুমনা এবং সৌরভ, তোমরা তো ইলেকট্রিক্যাল বা পাওয়ারে নও, তাহলে এনার্জি ম্যানেজমেন্ট, এনার্জি অডিট পড়তে তোমাদের ইন্টারেস্ট কেন? Is there any specific reason?
স্যার মোটামুটি মানে ওই সিলেবাসটা দেখে আপাতত মানে ওটা একটু ইন্টারেস্ট রাখলো, সেই জন্য ওটাকে
স্যার
মানে
সিলেবাসটা দেখে আমাদের মানে ইন্টারেস্টিং লাগলো, তো
মানে
সেই
অ্যাজ পার
কারণে
দ্য আদার সাবজেক্ট মানে এটা সিলেবাসটা একটু ইন্টারেস্টিং রাখলো, সেই জন্য এটা
আমরা জয়েন করেছি।
Okay, fine. Shumana, same with you.
স্যার সেম, বাট প্রিন্টিং এর স্যার মেশিন যেগুলো ইউজ হয় ওগুলোর ক্ষেত্রেও স্যার এনার্জি কিছু মানে থাকতে পারে, তো ওই জন্য আমি নিয়েছি।
Now, energy management, energy auditor সঙ্গে আরেকটা জিনিস খুব রিলেটেড হয়ে আছে, that is for universal for all, and that you will come to know that today the world, the globe is suffering from the threat of sustainability, right? Now, what is meant by sustainability? That our sustenance in the world is at a stake. আমরা জানি না এই পৃথিবীটা কতদিন টিকবে। কেন জানি না? Because the scientists and the engineers are telling that the global temperature is rising, and it is rising because of many reasons. One of the prime reason is the deposition of carbon dioxide in the system. It is a greenhouse gas. Not only carbon dioxide, there are other gases, but carbon dioxide is predominant. And who produces carbon dioxide? Anything fossil fuel which burns produces carbon dioxide. It may be automobile sector, it may be thermal generation sector. Primarily, these two are identified as the prime generator of carbon dioxide. Now, when the world is under a threat, how the engineers can sit, peacefully without doing something technological innovation to retard the process or to stop the process. But it is again an enigma, because we are here to develop. You are here to do something productive, to do something, giving something for the society, and reap the benefit to all the people. This is the job of engineers. And in the production process, you also require energy. In the manufacturing process, even in the research process, or even in the survival process, you require energy. Now, what type of energy you require? You require, if the energy comes from fossil fuel, it is harmful, because this is not green energy, it is a polluting energy. So we have to work for developing a new type of energy, which are green energies, for our own sustenance. Now, you see, the entire society of engineers are getting connected to it. In every aspect, whatever you do, it may be construction, it may be printing, it may be electrical, it may be mechanical, you must have the maximum efficient usage of energy. So whatever impure or non-green energy is produced, it should not be an wastage, not only in term of money, but in term of generating carbon dioxide or CO2 or greenhouse gas. If you can reduce the usage of energy, you are proportionately reducing the greenhouse gas emitting from the system. At the same time, you have to work together to produce more renewable or green energy, which will continue our society without any heinous effect. So it is not only the area of electrical or power engineers, it is the area where sustainability is concerned for everybody. And today, engineering systems has become interconnected. No domain can run without the help of other domain, and the basic computer system has put all the engineers together, because everyone is working perhaps in the same platform. So we study energy management, energy audit. Not only it is an individual area or independent area for electrical or production engineers or power engineers, the area can be shared by everyone based on their usage, based on their effectivity. Now, let me talk about, since we are more concerned on electricity as the prime resource of energy in our cases, let us study the electrical system and the energy resources in India. And all of you, I think, will enjoy to learn this thing, because our how Indian power system is running, what are the problems, and what are the key areas we need to see. It may be in a larger scale, it may be in a smaller scale. So let me go through the presentation. If you have any doubt, please ask me, because that time I won't be able to see the screen except the presentation. So if you have any query, please ask me. Right now, I am on the process of sharing the presentation. Is it okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this screen shows Energy Management Energy Audit JU 2022 day 1, right? So I am going to the next. Now I am giving you a synopsis of energy basket. We are talking about India. The area of India is 32,87,240 square kilometer. Our population is about 1.38 billion. That means 138 crore. Our objective is to be a $5 trillion economy. Present our economic strength is around $2.63 trillion. And if we become now in financially, we are in the having fifth position in the globe. But if we become a 5 trillion company, we'll be having third position in the globe. So we are moving faster. Present strength is 2.7 trillion. India is the third big energy consumer after USA and China. So presently in energy, we are much ahead. Why we are much ahead? Because our number of population is very, very high. I told you it's 1.38 billion. That means 138 crore. Our per capita energy consumption is very low. What that indicate, I will tell you. World per capita energy consumption, that means per head energy consumption, is 76 gigajoule, where our is 24 gigajoule. In energy resource basket, we have coal 56%, crude oil, what we require 30%, natural gas 6%, nuclear 1%, hydro 4%, renewable 3%. And India is not independent in energy requirement. India has to import a bulk amount of oil, I mean petroleum, from other countries. And recently, due to Ukraine crisis, Russia war, the gas price, or the fuel price has gone sharply high. And the prices, we are buying petroleum at a cost of 106 rupees per liter. The India import around 200 plus million ton of crude, about 80% of total demand, and 30 million ton of liquid natural gas, and 140 million ton of coal. We are a coal producing country. We do have enough reserve of coal, but still we need to import good amount of coal because of quality issue. India spend about 1 lakh billion INR every year it's a mind-boggling figure. 1 billion equals to 100 crore. So imagine how much money we spend, right, for importing coal, importing oil. And if we can reduce the consumption, or if we can improve the efficiency, that means reduce wastage, then a good amount of this can be saved. So this is a basic, focus of our country's energy situation. Another point I am telling in the next slide, that growth is a financial index. India is continuously growing in energy usage. And at the same time, since independence, the financial situation of India is gradually improving. The average improvement is almost 6 to 7% in GDP on year-to-year basis. The undulated curve you see, that the gross domestic product, or the financial value of the services and products India produce every year, sometimes it's rising, sometimes it's falling. But if you see over a period of 1947 to till date, you see the slope of the line is on the rising side. That means the tan theta of the line is on rising. Therefore, it indicates that the economy of our country is increasing at a decent level of 6 to 7%. Now, what is the relationship of that with energy? The very simple relationship is that since India is a growing country, it's a developing country, for development of monetary level, the consumption of energy is also increases. Increases at what level? The statistics says that the same percentage where the growth slope is there, say if it is 6%, the energy demand also grow by 5 to 6%. That means it maintains a close parity with the GDP rise. But this case is not same for developed countries, because a developed country have less need of energy. It tries to export items, send things, but its economy is more or less in a saturated level. But in India, the economy is not saturated. Many person in India even today, they not get handful amount of food. Many people live below poverty limit, so rehabilitation, meeting their needs is the primary requirement. So as they do have need of everything, need of food, need of shelter, need of clothes, we need to produce for our own country, we need to produce those, and for production the energy is required. So the growth of energy will remain rising till India becomes a developed country, and we expect that developed country level India can achieve by 2050. So we can be rest assured that by 5, 6, 7% growth, the energy growth will continue. And with more industrialization, the growth rate will be faster. Is it okay with you? Could you understand my statement? Please say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? No? I'm going to the next one, right? Now, per capita India of Indian citizen is about 1,26,406. It was, it had happened by an World Bank article, which has also been corroborated by our finance minister then, that the per capita income is 1,26,000. It may appear a little bit perplexed to you because India is such a country. You can see a lot of poor, and 1,26,000 average means almost 10,000 per capita. That means 10,000 per head, which is a good figure. At least if there is a four-member family, then the family income becomes 40,000. Then you cannot say that they are absolute poor. They may be low, of having lower middle class, but they are not absolute poor. But truly speaking, there is huge economic disparity in our country. There are some people who are very, very rich, and there are some people who are uh, very, very poor. You know, the stinking rich and the abysmally low situation of people makes the difference of economy. Some people do have very less income per capita, and some people have very high per capita income. But however, we are talking on average, so average makes everything under a same scale. What I mean to say, that at the bottom level, when the per capita income will increase due to trickling effect of economy, then the actual demand rise will come in place, and that demand rise will be reflected in more and more requirement of electricity, more and more requirement of petroleum, and more usage of energy, right? All India annual per capita consumption of electricity since 2008 and 9. It was 779 in 2009-10, and 2018-19 or 1920 it was 1181. That means from 779 it's a steady rise. You can see the graph, it has gone up. So what it indicates, that electricity requirement is rising. I do not have any such figure for gas or petroleum, but if you can search those data from the Indian statistical body, you can see that these are also in the rising in nature. Now, where do we stand in the global standard? Global standard is, for developed country, the average is 7,000 to 10,000. But there, the developed countries are mostly European. They are in the colder region, so they require high heat load. But those who do not belong to the cold region, say South America, or say China, or even we can say the world average is much higher. South American load is per capita or per head energy demand is 2,731, 2731 kWh unit per year per head. China is almost 4,000. World average is above 3,000, and our is only 1,209. So if you consider the overall energy from 76 and we are 24 gigajoule per head, and if you consider the electricity average, you see that in both the cases we are basically one third of the world average. And world average is basically comprising of Africa, South Asian countries which are of the hot region, and European countries. So it makes an overall balance. Therefore, it squares up the heat load and the air conditioning load which are required in tropical region, and the heat load required in the cold regions. So if we get a balance, India also under the effect of tropical region, the energy requirement is much less than the world average. So if we intend to grow up, become a bigger economy, be a bigger player in the world, and try to develop ourselves, expect to be under the regime of developed economy or developed country, we must increase, and the system demand will go on with the increment of per capita energy. And you see that by next 10 years, the 1209 figure will grow up. Obviously, not grow up by leaps and bounds, because at the same time, all the sectors will be more efficient. So, but the production process will require energy. Despite efficiency, there will be some drop of energy requirement due to more efficient, more high technology usage, but still there will be growth. So we people, the electrical engineers and others, must be ready to support that economy, to support that growth. So that we should have our infrastructure ready like that, so that when the energy demand will go up, even not as we expect in the same scale, but it will go up, and we must be ready to cater that energy. How the energy will be generated? To the extent possible from the green energy division, and partly from the thermal sector or fossil fuel sector, but both the sectors should run more and more efficiently, so that there should be no losses, or if losses, that should be minimal, at the minimal level, right? Now, uniqueness of Indian power system, resource and demand distribution. This is a picture of India. You can see the brighter portions, and which indicates that these are much illuminated. The darker portion means that there are less development. Obviously, India do not have uniform development all over India. Some areas are more developed, some areas are less developed. So the development is varied. These are for various reasons. Some locations are habitable, some locations are even non-habitable, like the desert region in the western northwestern part of India, the Choto Nagpur plateau, or the forest areas. These are also not habitable. So there, there is no industry, there is virtually no population. So these areas are under darkness, but still the illumination level of India is increasing. It indicates that India is on the more usage of energy. India has skewed resources. All you know, the resources are not uniformly distributed. Somewhere there are coal mines. Somewhere you find there are wind forces. There you can harness wind power there. Somewhere there are good hydro potentials. You can harness water power from the hydropower from there. Somewhere you can see there are good amount of solar intensity, so you can harness solar power from that area. So the resources are distributed, which are skew in nature. So what you do, wherever the resource is concentrated, you generate that type of power from that location. When there are coal mines, you generate thermal power. When there are good solar insolence, you generate solar electricity from that area. But you need to bring that electricity from the source of generation to the point of usage. So you need to have a good distributed transmission network. So the structure requirement comes from the generation point to the usage point. You need to have a good connectivity. So that is the long haulage of power is required. India have weather extremities. Somewhere in the north there are snow-clad mountains. In the northeast there are the desert. In the east and far east, that means in the Assam or in the northeastern region, sub-Himalayan terrain, there are continuous rains, and the water falls. It's a mostly moist area. So you see that there are very, very drought areas, waterless areas. There are continuously moist areas or rainy areas. There are two times of rain to take place in the South India. There are terrains, there are mountains in the western Ghat, in the eastern Ghat, and there are plateaus. So India's overall map has a lot of variations. There are weather extremes and there are diversities. And what is the present resource and demand situation today? Resource means where we are generating. So we have right now coal 204 gigawatt. I'm sorry, megawatt is written. Cancel the. Don't take this picture. I will share this presentation to you, and I will correct it. It is megawatt is written, but that will be written as gigawatt. So coal is almost 204 gigawatt. Lignite is a different form of coal that is around 6 gigawatt. Gas 24.8, that means almost 25 gigawatt. Diesel is 0.5 gigawatt. These are all fossil fuels. So coal, lignite, gas, diesel, they fall under the fossil fuel category, and that comprises almost 60% of our total generation. Nuclear is only 6.78, or can say 7 gigawatt. Large hydro is 46.85, say 47 gigawatt. Small hydro is 4.8, say 5 gigawatt. Wind is 40.9, say 41 gigawatt. Solar is 57.9, say 58 gigawatt. And biomass is 10.2, say 10 gigawatt. So as a whole, we find we have installed capacity of 404 gigawatt. And out of which fossil fuel is 60%. Hydro, large hydro means which are coming from dams and others with very large flow of water. They are of 12%. Renewable is 28%. And if you compare between energy, fossil fuel energy still, that is the thermal energy still is supplying more. It is 73%, and non-fossil fuel, which are coming from all these renewables, hydro, they are only 23%. What is the difference between the installed capacity megawatt and energy? Because megawatt is the capacity of plants which are installed, and energy is that when the plant moves or runs, the amount of electricity it produces. So when the megawatt capacity of coal and others is almost around 60%, and the hydro portion, water to renewable, they are basically of 40%. If I break up this thing, that means thermal and non-thermal, or fossil fuel and non-fossil fuel, if I distribute it, it comes the installed capacity level almost 60% to 40%. But when it converts to energy, we see that the solar energy, that the thermal energy is 73%, and non-thermal or non-fossil fuel is only 23%. That means 73 and 73 and 27%. 73% is fossil fuel, non-fossil fuel is 27%. Here I by mistake made it 23%. It is not that, it is 27%. But why such difference? Difference is because the fossil fuel generations are more stable generation. For thermal, you can control coal, which is in your hand. But for solar, 50% of the time you are not getting, because solar production does not take place in the evening and night. Only in the day period you get solar. Wind also you get when the wind speed is high. And for both the cases, maximum 20-22% utilization is possible from its installed capacity. So whatever amount of solar or wind you install, you can take only a small part of that which gets converted to energy. So there the difference. Hydro, again, when hydro you can get throughout the day, but if you consider over the period of a year, hydro is also fluctuating, because in winter or in peak summer you get less hydro support. Hydro you can get very good, particularly in the rainy season, that is from May, June to October, November, when there are rain. But from November, December, January, February, March, April, when the peak winter and summer, the rain, that is when there is no rain, or rainy season when there is no rainy season, the hydro potential becomes low. So you get less hydro. So these are the problems which is having in Indian power sector. Now, what is Indian power sector today? Indian power sector, we have already discussed that it's a very large power sector. I have given here some old data, 375. Right now it is 404 gigawatt. By December 20, by June 2022. So don't forget about that. We are having good amount of foreign investments, and we have much focus on the renewable sector, and environment policy is quite favorable. Now I am coming to the energy map in India. Energy map in India means where are the energy resources? Energy resources we have distributed all over India. We have thermal resources, that means coal resources, in the eastern region, in the central region, and partly in the western region. There are coal mines. There are hydro potentials, which are also indicated in the map. You may not see the map very clearly because it's in a small part, particularly this figure is given. However, when I will share the presentation with you, you can go through. You can see that where the coal and hydro potentials are there. Coal reserve is about 101 billion ton. It will last for hopefully 100 plus years, depending how much coal we extract from the mines. Earlier, we used to extract bulk amount of coal. Almost per year, we used to extract 600 to 700 million ton. Right now, the government has targeted to extract almost 1,000 million ton of coal every year. But based on the threat of greenhouse gas emission, in future, coal extraction will also be restricted. Obviously, when we will install more renewable and stress on more renewable generation, the extraction of coal will also be reduced. But based on this coal extraction, the life of Indian coal mines or Indian coal reserve will be around 100 to 150 years. 100 to 150 years. It is basically dependent on a term called RP ratio, that is reserve versus production. Now, if I have got 100 reserve and if I extract every day 2, then the reserve versus extraction period is 100 by 2, that is 50. So the coal will last for 50 years. Now, if I increase the rate of extraction, obviously the reserve period will be reduced. So no one wants to lose their resources of energy. So we have to also make a check of the coal extraction. It can be done by 2 ways. One is if we can make our generation more efficient, so we will require less coal for 1 unit of generation. And other is that if we don't extract and reduce generation, so we will have to make a judicious system that what process we follow. Shall we reduce thermal generation or we'll try to increase more efficiency of the system? Right now, efficiency increment is the main path. So we are, migrating into modern technology of thermal generating stations with new type of boilers, that is, more higher capacity and supercritical boilers that we will discuss in due course. For solar, India do have ample of solar capacity. But if you call that which are the most prominent part of solar in India, this is the western side and southern side. You can see the map. The more you know, orangish areas where the solar insolence will be more is basically the Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and the South Indian Chennai areas. And the best solar resource you can say as the Leh Ladakh areas where the temperature is low and the solar insolence is very high. So these are the areas where you can get solar generation. Get more solar generation. However, throughout India, there are good amount of solar possibilities. So it is not that solar can be done only in those areas. Every area where we get open land, because India do have land scarcity. So if you can manage land, you can set up solar generating stations. And the government is right now very focused to have solar generations even on rooftops. They are giving various facilities to create rooftop solars, which is being done, have a target of generating 40 gigawatt of rooftop solar. 40 gigawatt. They had a target to do it by 2020, but due to COVID and others, the target became little bit relaxed. Right now, we are not able to produce that much of solar what we intended to do. Now the wind generation, India's wind power potential is 300 plus gigawatt at 100 meters. What is 100 meter? Because wind require a turbine which operates at a higher level. Why higher level? Because the wind flow is more at the higher level than the ground. So when we are grouted at the ground and your height is 6 feet, you face the wind pressure. And if you go, in a mountain, which is around, say, or if you go in a high altitude building, multi-storied building having 50 60 stories, and if you go to 100 30 storied building where the building high is 100 meter, you see in the rooftop the wind speed is much higher than the ground wind speed. So if the wind turbine is located at 100-meter height, the possibility of wind speed or wind thrust will be much higher, which is proportional to the production of electricity or the rotation of the turbine. Right now, the average height is 80 feet. So in 80 feet, the capacity is much less. It is almost 100 gigawatt overall in India. But if we can increase the height, the capacity will be more. So these are the future requirements in India. If we intend to have more wind, more solar, we need to be more and more innovative and technically cautious and conscious that how this can be done with modification of the existing or installing some new wind turbines, solar panels, or the thermal plants, which is giving us much more efficiency in the system. The wind turbine, the wind is mainly available in Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan. The locations of wind map or the wind resources I told you. Now, let us consider the electrical regions of India. This is very interesting, and it is interesting for all of you. For ease of power sector operation, the energy operation, electrical energy operation, India has been distributed in several regions. In the extreme right, this is northeastern region, which we call comprising of 7 sisters, right? Tripura, Sikkim, Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, Arunachal, and uh, Meghalaya. So these are the 7 sisters. Now, as you understand, these areas are hilly areas, and there is virtually very small industries. There is virtually no industries. So the demand is very less. Maximum demand is 3 gigawatt, average 2 gigawatt, and minimum 1 gigawatt. Minimum is very low because it is a winter prone area. Many of the areas are covered under snow, so people cannot live there. So their demand obviously low. But the resource potential is high, particularly in the lower part of this northeastern region. There are, good rivers which can produce hydropower. So they have got good hydro potential. But there is one problem of bringing electricity from that region to India, the other part of India, because it is only connected to the red arrow, what I have shown here. It's the chicken neck. It is only a 38 kilometer wide area through which you need to transmit all the electricities. And from Bhutan, the power also come in India through this road. From northeast, we also import power from this road. So these are the, technicalities. These are the problems. Now, left to that, the eastern region, which is comprising of West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha. The eastern region also have less industries. Our maximum demand is 25 gigawatt, minimum 15 gigawatt, and average is 20 gigawatt. So if I say in the almost in the month of May, what is the demand of the eastern region? How much is the peak evening demand it can be? So you can merely understand that the demand will be around 20 gigawatt. It may be 19, it may be 21. On an average, it is 20. And in the peak period, that is the peak summer, when all the air conditioners, all the machines, everything runs, obviously the power demand grows, and the maximum is around 25. That means 2,500 megawatt. Similarly, if we go to the further left, that is western region, which is basically having high amount of industries, and the temperature is also pretty high in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Maharashtra, Gujarat. The Maharashtra and Gujarat, they are industrially developed areas, so there are a lot many industries. The maximum demand is 55, minimum 48, and average is 55 gigawatt. Same with the northern region. Northern region is bigger in size. From J&K to Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Madhya Pradesh, entire Uttar Pradesh, which is a very large. There are also Uttarakhand, there are also Himachal, all comprises of this Uttaranchal, all comprises of this northern region. They are also having maximum demand of 65 gigawatt, average 55, and minimum 35. And now the rest one is the southern region, which is also industrially strong, but they are also having good agriculture. So the maximum is 55, minimum 40, and average 45. All the regions have got their specifications. The northern region is deficit region. There, whatever they have generation, it is not sufficient to feed that region. So if you consider there is a transmission network, the transmission network intends to draw power to, or send power to, the northern region. The eastern region is basically they are having a lot of coal mines, I told you earlier. So the coal mines generate electricity, and the demand is comparatively less. What happens that eastern region intends to push power to the other sections who need power, right? Similarly with northeastern region, they also have less demand. So whatever power they generate, they also push power. So eastern region gets power from northeastern region. North, so as a whole, eastern region pushes power to the northern region. Now, what about the southern and western region? They do have more or less a balance. Earlier, southern region where was a deficit region. Right now, they have become surplus, and they intend to push power to the western and northern. So, as a whole, you see that there will be a push from southern, eastern to the western and northern region, because western and northern region, they have generation, but the generation may be not able to match their demand so far. Whatever, because they are very industrially rich, whatever power they require, some of the quantum is supported by eastern and northeastern and southern region. So this is basically a picture, basically powerful picture of India. Do you understand this? Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Any
sir.
doubt? কারোর কোনো ডাউট হচ্ছে?
No, sir.
So now I told you that if we need to flow power from one point to other, we need to have a very strong power network. So we have got very good power transmission system, and we have got 765 kV backbone network. We do have HVDC. We have 400 kV. You do not go into details of that. I'm just telling it to understand that for making the entire power flow in India possible, what are things there. Those who are electrical, they perhaps understand better, but those do not belong to electrical, you just know that whenever you have resources and you are generating energy, you need to transfer this energy to other places. Like mechanical linkage needs, what it does, it transfers energy or power from one point to other. In electrical cases, electrical tie lines, bus bars and conductors transfer electrical energy from one point to other. That's the simple. So you need to have a very good set of transmission network to reach electricity from every corner of generation to every point of usage. So we have a transmission network, and the transmission network supplies bulk power to different substations. From there, we have a very uh, distributed, very systematically distributed distribution network to reach that electricity or to transfer that electricity to the end consumer. These are the transmission network again. I do not require to explain this. You can go through the presentation in future. You can see the transmission networks, how India is connected throughout. This animated picture shows that from where the transmission power pushes in the central grid, and which ultimately feeds the different part of India. And the green line which has come later, this is a conceived network which is not really in a picture, not really in existence right now. This is another network for our renewable generation, because renewable generation is fluctuating. Now if the fluctuating generation is pushed into the stable grid, the stability of the grid may get affected. So we use renewables separately and put with the local grid so that it can be fed, or it can be uh, mixed with the regional power, not mixed with the bulk power which is flowing in the system. This is again showing that how the network flows, right? I told you that from east, northeast to the northern and western is the direction. From the southern to northern, southern to western is the direction. This direction is shown through this animated picture. So I think you have understood this. Now I mentioned you that COP21, that is Conference of Parties. What is that? to arrest the global warming, all the heads of different countries every year they join. They discuss that how these global phenomena can be arrested and what the global leaders can do for protecting the green world. In 21st mission, it was decided that India will produce 175 gigawatt by 2022. What is 175? This is renewable power. 100 gigawatt solar, 60 gigawatt wind, and 15 gigawatt biomass and microhydro. It was done in the Paris Climate Agreement. It was decided that the temperature rise of the globe should be arrested within 1.5 degrees centigrade. Otherwise, the global warming will make the system haywire. All the glaciers will go on melting, and the sea level will rise. 1.5 degree to 2 degree can be the maximum possible allowable temperature rise, beyond which such phenomenon will take place and the aggravation will be very fast to destroy the entire ecological balance. Now, India Paris Climate Protocol, what they have decided to reduce emission intensity of the economy, emission intensity of the entire economy, and having 60% electric power installed capacity from clean energy sources by the year 2030. Right now, they are telling that 50% of electricity to be converted to renewable by 2030, and the target has become, instead of 175 by 2030, the target has become 500 gigawatt. 500 gigawatt, so that our globe can be saved. Now, energy audit, energy efficiency, all they do focusing these things. We need to audit what type of energy we are using, how best they are being utilized, whatever be the function. And what else? Energy management means how the shifting of energy can be made possible. How much renewable blending can be possible in the system. How much renewable can be harnessed and what new renewable can be put into our system, which will be at par with the existing fossil fuel based generation. So these are the challenges we are having. Now, what are the Indian energy challenges? Indian energy challenges is many. One is that we are producing renewable energy, but still people are banking on reliable thermal energy. So we have to think creating a pan-India market for renewable. We need to achieve universal electricity access. Almost everyone has got electric connection, but still some pockets are yet to be supplied. Quality. What electricity I am supplying, is it of good quality or bad quality? Because electricity is not a shirt or pant. Electricity has only three parameters: voltage, frequency, and reliability. Whenever you are expecting the electricity to be in your home, if you find it is there, you can say it is reliable. You are expecting the electricity at a voltage of 230, and if you see it is at 230, obviously the quality is good. And if you say it is at 50 cycles and you are finding it at 50 cycles, obviously the quality is good. But unfortunately it does not happen. Sometimes the voltage shoots up, sometimes the voltage has surges, sometimes the voltage dips. So we are a sufferer of quality. But problem is that since we are habituated with these interruptions, with these infrequent supplies, then people do not think about quality. But when people will get regular electricity services, they will think for quality. India is dependent on oil import hugely. I told you 80% of our oil is imported, and we spend a mind-boggling amount of money to import oil and and coal for importing fuel. So the replacement, how it can be possible through hydrogen fuel, usage of electric vehicle, storage and energy efficiency. So these are possible by alternative uses. India's NDC, intended nationally determined contribution. That is, we will generate renewable electricity, we will reduce carbon dioxide. This India has declared in this global platform. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, he told there that we will reduce this CO2 emission. This is our global responsibility. He has taken that oath. So the India has to, India, if a person, of the world has a population of 700 crore. Now India has a population of 140 crore. That is, India do have 1/5 of population of the world. So India has a responsibility also for their own country people, that if the globe, goes on destroying, the 1/5 of the population of India will also suffer in the same way. So India should do something for the globe, and that is known as INDC, Intended Nationally Determined Contribution, which is to arrest climate change. 40% of electricity installed will be non-fossil fuel by 2030, and improve emission intensity of its GDP to 33 to 35% by 2030, below 2005 level. So in the year 2005, whatever greenhouse gas we have emitted, we will reduce it to 30 to 35% by 2030, and meeting electricity by this growing energy demand. So my dear friends, today I am stopping here. I am on page number 15. Now tell me in which day I will take the next class.